Well, this is the Mama Tried Flat Out Friday podcast, number 23, 24? 24. Thanks, everybody, for listening, for watching,
You're
for
work
tuning in.
Uhs.
Well, did I say ah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's one ah.
Better than
Can we keep
I thought that I never used the word ope, but Jeremy disabused me.
You
of
use
this.
the word ope all the
It's
time.
like, oh, that was...
Yes.
Yeah,
It's a Wisconsin thing.
because I always see those Charlie Barron's like little things on Instagram, and I was like, ope. Who uses that word? Opa? What is it? Is that like a grandpa's name? I didn't really understand it. And then I was like telling Jeremy, I never use it, and I used it in the sentence I was talking to him.
I don't think Mr. Good Times knows what we're talking about. But hold on, we're going to get to you in a second. Let's get through this
He's
housekeeping.
going to get to a lot of, I don't know what
Let's
that
get to this
guy's
housekeeping
talking about
and the introduction. This is the Mama Tried Flat Out Friday podcast. And we always do a little bit of housekeeping. And actually, before we even get into housekeeping, it's important to always remember to comment on the things that you're seeing. Hit the bell, and share, and do us a favor. Get involved in the dialogue we're trying to have.
Send us
Talk some
questions.
shit.
Yeah. Review us on Apple Podcasts and tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like about it.
Like, Warren should get off his phone.
Yeah.
Maybe Warren should have 2 beers in front of him instead of 1 to start.
Maybe you should have 4.
Okay. Maybe we should have therapy before we begin.
This is therapy.
How about 2 beers and some pink sparkling water for me?
We're drinking pink
a little bit of housekeeping. I'd like to give a weekly update. We are approaching the holiday season. We're in mid-December, as far as Flat Out Friday goes, if I can just speak for that, riders that have registered, almost 250-ish. We say 300 because we still have the goofball class to fill, and the build bikes are going to be part of it.
The word out on the street is we need to step up our goofball scenario.
Yeah,
right?
goofball. It's generally around this time. Well, there's two things going on, I believe, with goofball. People assume that they can just roll in because I find threads. Hey, I'm building this for goofball, but they need to alert us.
Yeah, for sure.
So please, if you think you're going to be developing something, or if you're already progressing on it, you have to let us know. This isn't just something that you roll into. We have to make space for you in the Fiserv. But also, the submissions that are coming in, just because you ride a motorcycle and wear a costume isn't really inappropriate. Is that fair? I need it to be something over the top.
The bar has been raised.
The bar.
Maybe the first year that was good.
Yes, the bar is
Thanks,
very
Marco.
high.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a guy with a porta-john at one time?
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. Thanks, Beer Mike. Yeah.
So the rider email should be going out. In all the other classes, you're getting confirmed that you are part of Flat Out Friday. We're going to give you some other directions along the way. I'm sure you have a lot of burning questions. Those questions will be coming to you very shortly, as well as a Google form, something we're trying new, that we're going to ask you some questions. We can house this data, propagate it on our social media, maybe turn you into a superstar, a flat track superstar.
Yeah, with some videos, some homemade videos that we're going to use. I think
It'll be on our social media and on the podcast and on
the Jumbotron.
And on the Jumbotron and the live show. Ticket sales are going really well for Flat Out Friday. I still need people to continue to buy. We need 10,000 people in the house to make it Flat Out Friday. So please, if you're on the fence about buying, just buy now, for our own anxiety and our own ability to put on an event. What's going on with Mama Tried here? Do you guys got any room for any more bikes? I saw a pretty great bike coming in here. You think can he submit his motorcycle?
We're being a little bit more cautious this year because last year we threw that into the wind and just went fuck it. We tend to go a little overboard.
Yeah.
And then we're biting our fingernails at the end. They're like, shit, are we gonna be able to get everything on the floor?
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're getting there. There's more interest than ever. Right, Scott? Like
more entries than ever?
Interest.
The submissions tab on the website where people just send in stuff I've never seen the amount, the quality. I mean, we always get a lot of submissions, but the quality. We could do a show, we could do a 100-bike show just with the stuff that's sent in.
Right.
Without having had conversations with people that we've met on the road or at other shows throughout the year.
And still steady.
And we have a great show just with submissions. So if you send a bike in and it doesn't get picked, it doesn't mean that it's not awesome. It's just we have so much. And
keep trying. Like don't Don't
Yeah.
if you didn't get
If you
picked
didn't
this year, like keep
send it back
asking,
in.
keep
Yeah.
sending.
Yeah.
You know, it's needed, wanted, and appreciated.
Yes, very much so. And we appreciate the entries and taking the time to fill it out and send in the photos and stuff like that. So we really get it. We really appreciate that. I don't think we've sold any tickets yet, have we?
We're selling tickets,
Yeah.
which is important.
Yeah.
That helps keep the lights on and keep our stoke and keep things moving. It's the first time we've used our website to sell our own tickets, so all that stuff goes directly to us, and we're able to manage it and use the funds properly to make sure that our ticket buyers get the best show and experience possible. So go there, buy merch, get your Christmas presents, help support your local motorcycle show,
Exactly.
because it goes a long way. It really helps. We've had a rough couple years, not to get on my little violin, but it's been tough. It's been tough.
It's been a tough couple of years for a lot of people. Hey, Warren, where did we go last week?
Dallas,
That was pretty cool.
Texas. And you know what sucks? I didn't get to a fucking hat store.
That's right. That's
Is
right.
Stetson for you?
No Stetson.
We talked about it.
We talked about it, but didn't
10
do it.
gallon maybe?
But you know what? It was an awesome trip. It was one of those trips where you're just like, man, get me the fuck out of here. And not in like this horrible way because I didn't have a good time. I was just overloaded with good times. It was too much.
Good times?
It was too much.
It was a lot. We dropped in we went to go see the people that run the Haas Museum. And Craig Rodsmith was kind of our steward and sort of got us into that world. And man, that is the coolest place. And have you ever been down there, Bobby?
Yeah, I was just, I went to Born Free, Texas, and I stayed in Fort Worth for a night at my friend Terry's. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a really great part of the country.
It's super great.
Fantastic.
Have you been to the museum?
No.
Museum
need to-
is
No, I'm
cool,
not really a
man.
museum.
You would like this place.
You would
Bobby.
like.
I'm
I've
not
been to
either.
the Mutter Museum in Philadelphia. Ever seen that one?
No, what is
Oh, was
it?
that
It's
the
like-
one
it's like
with
the
the
House
weird
of Death,
with the
yeah.
weird growths and
Yeah,
stuff
it's
like
the
that,
death-
tumors and.
They call
The
it the
oddity.
Museum of Death. Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Bitch,
It's like
where's that at?
200-pound
Philadelphia.
testicle and shit like that.
It's called
Stacy sounds like Stacy and I
Mutter.
are going on a weekend
Mutter.
trip.
Yeah.
You know, through this, Warren, I'm always a little bit fixated on names, and we're going to use this as a segue to your name. But I want that to be my name if I could. Can you make your own nickname?
No.
No.
Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
when
not.
you guys are thinking about making a nickname, let me just plant this.
I got it.
Can it be Too Much Good Times Jeremy?
Whenever
because
just have
because that is a little bit me. I think people think I'm fun, but after a little while, you're like, it's too much. It's too much. I'm going home.
the first thing that popped into my head, Proc, was whenever I misspell your name really fast on the iPhone,
Mhm.
it changed it to Kermit. So how do you feel about that?
It's not as good as Too Much Good Times Kermit. I'll take
Well,
that.
now
I compromise.
You kind of get
It
stuck
makes
with
me
what you get. Yeah.
it makes me snicker every time it happens.
But I'm using this as a segue to the real good times right here.
Actually, someone called me Happy Times not too long ago.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, it's good times.
Bobby
but
Happy
I'll
Times?
take Happy Times.
All right.
So what are the chances your last name would be Good Times? I mean, what a fortunate name to be born into.
It's not Good Times.
No?
No, it's Hultz.
Oh.
Pretty close. It's German for Good Times.
Well, that makes sense, right? It's not lost in translation.
And is it safe to say that you've had some good times?
Oh, I've had good times. Yeah. More good times than bad.
Well,
for
hopefully Proc will dive into that for
Well-
us and poke and prod. Because
Well,
you know nothing about Bobby Good Times, right?
Well, I purposely know very little about you, and I was saying in the green room when we were hanging out in our catered lunch how I didn't want to talk to you and know anything about because I wanted to find out about it live. But Bobby Good Times is pretty. We had Brad motherfucking Richards on here. That's a pretty big name. We had Franklin Blackula. That's a pretty spectacular
That's
name.
a
But
great
Bobby
one.
Good Times could very well be.
Wait, is that the one with the shovel head? That's him?
Yeah.
Oh my God, fantastic guy.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Love
he's,
that
really
guy.
great. He's so great.
yeah.
He just oozes like.
Yeah,
Just
that's
the-
the coolest
the
bike
best
I've ever
vibe.
seen.
I
The
know.
coolest guy I've ever
Yeah,
met.
yeah, totally.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, they go together well.
Yeah.
Tell me when Bobby Good Times was coined.
Well, I can't pinpoint a day, but I can pinpoint kind of a year-ish. So I'm from New Jersey. And I moved here 20 years ago, and I got it here in Chicago.
Did
And
Harlow have something to do with that?
Harlow, Joe, Suda, Gene. So anyone that was up past like 2 o'clock in the morning would look for me and be like, I know, where's Rob? Well, they call me Bobby. So
Yeah.
where's Bobby?
Well, give me a year
And then
again.
why do you want Bobby at 2:00 in the morning? Well, he's probably got a good time with him. And then boom,
Give
it
me
just
a year.
kind of rolled downhill.
So,
From
so,
there.
so it was coined in Chicago.
Yeah,
At Brave Town.
Brave Town. Yeah.
In what year? What year is this?
Well, 2010, I would say around 2010.
Also fairly recently.
Yeah, this is a new phenomenon. Yeah.
All right.
Does it bother you?
No, I love it. I love it.
What do your Jersey friends think of it?
They call me Rob. They have no idea.
Nice.
I wasn't. I left New Jersey to come to Chicago because the good times had filtered out.
Okay.
So it was time for me to go
Yeah.
and start a new thing.
Right.
So
What brought
I
you?
was new and exciting here in the Chicago
Okay.
area. So.
And was it music that brought you to Chicago?
Well, sort of. So I wound up in Chicago. I met someone at the Flatiron on tour, and we got married. So music did bring me to
Wait,
Chicago.
hang on, that was a lot to unpack.
There's a lot
What
there.
do you mean on the Flatiron?
No, the Flatiron is a club
Okay.
on Milwaukee Avenue in Chicago.
Okay, so you're in a
It was
band.
called the Blue Note, I think, at the time.
You're in a band playing on a
I
tour.
was on tour.
What band? What kind of music?
It was like a stoner metal band called Solace. So we were on tour. We were on our way.
Sleep.
Like Sleep.
I Hate
Yeah.
God. That's
Sort of that genre, yeah.
okay.
Exactly. And so we're on our way to this festival. I think I Hate God was actually playing the fest we were playing. So we did about 5 dates ahead of it. It's in Youngstown, Ohio. It's called Emissions of the Monolith. And I was playing the show, and I met a girl there. And,
Groupie.
well, she became my wife, so we're not going to call her a groupie, but let's just say we left
Okay.
with a huge bag of good times. And the band left me in Chicago and went to Detroit and left me behind
Oh.
because
What instrument do you play?
I disappeared. And so I was like, I remember waking up the next day like, hey, guess what? She goes, what? I go, we're taking a road trip to Detroit because my band left me behind. So we drove to Detroit, you know, going back and forth, driving and puking, and we finally made it to Detroit. Then I was married 6 weeks later. Yeah.
All right.
Well,
All right.
hard.
I like the
when
story.
you saw your band in Detroit, were they like, dude, what the fuck?
No,
Did
they
get the
knew.
silent
They
treatment?
knew I'd show up eventually. I never missed a gig.
Okay.
So they're like, he'll get here. Just,
And how long had you guys been together at that point?
my band?
Yeah.
So the band started in like 1998. And this was like 05.
Okay, so a while.
Yeah, so I
You guys
came to
had some
Chicago
history.
in 2005.
Okay.
So we were what the band members I was with I've been in a band with since 1986.
Oh
So
wow.
I've known these guys forever.
Always carrying the stoner rock flag, if you will.
Oh no! It started off as a New Jersey hardcore band. So I grew up right outside of New York City, and we were a really popular hardcore band called Social Decay. And you know, when the '90s came around, we kind of morphed into more of a Sabbathy thing. I wouldn't call us grunge, but we just didn't play hardcore music anymore. It
Sure.
it was like a cross between Black Flag and Black Sabbath. So that's how we
Right.
that's how we promoted it.
Did
And
you were playing at the Gardens there in Jersey? You know what I'm talking about?
City Gardens?
The City
Played
Gardens?
City Gardens multiple times.
Oh,
I
yeah?
saw shows there multiple times. I grew up in City Gardens and CBGB's both. Played CBGB's when I was 15.
No way.
Yeah, first time.
You guys know what I'm talking about? The City Gardens?
No idea.
It's like a
City Gardens. I've heard from you.
in Trenton, New Jersey.
What is it? Give
It's
me
a
a
club.
picture.
It's a club. It's like it's just a run-down, dirty punk rock
Sure.
club.
But it would have been, what's the word you use? Transgressive cultures. So hip hop, you know, you would have seen Run DMC there in the
Yeah,
80s.
you could have. I saw Jane's
seen,
Addiction there, actually.
Yep. You would have seen all the quintessential bands that are huge played
But they
City
had
Gardens.
Sunday matinees.
And it was known for its fights with the bouncers and being,
Yeah, so you weren't. Eventually, you weren't allowed to stage dive, and everyone was getting thrown. It was a crazy place. My first show I ever seen there was The Exploited. I'm gonna
and they
put it-
started their van on fire.
Yeah, I was there that night, and it was probably 1987, and it was a huge riot, and I was at that show, and I saw just about every. It was either at CB's or City Gardens that Sunday, or I went to both.
Yeah.
I would
Really?
like do a Sunday matinee at noon, and then drive down to Trenton to see the night show,
Yeah.
at City Gardens. I did that for years.
Real quick, I
Really?
just read the book, and in there, I'm telling you this, Warren, just because you guys probably don't know
Yeah,
anything
you're-
about this.
No.
So the Exploited would have been England's version of a skinhead movement, of an oi oi movement. So
Yeah.
like a working class and pro England. Not racist or the American Front kind of stuff, but just pro England. Playing in front of New Jersey, which is a skinhead proud American crowd, and they spit on them.
It was
Soaked
pretty
them in
wild.
spit.
So you got to understand.
And-
So it was, you know, you got Waddy and the Exploited. The opening band was called Suburban Uprise, which was I don't know if they were from Philly or Allentown, like working class Pennsylvania band. They opened. I looked like this without the beard.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just some scrawny 100-pound, long-haired crossover kid, like you know.
Okay.
So
You're
I'm just
trying-
like,
you're trying to
and
figure
I'm
out
just
what
like,
your shit
I
is.
don't know what the fuck's going on in here, dude. Scared for your life.
Really?
How old?
I had to have been 16, probably.
So it's an all ages club, or you
Yeah.
just
So Waddy plays, the Exploited plays, in defiance of the crowd. We're going to play covered in spit as our fuck you to the crowd.
And they were great.
And the crowd lights their van on fire.
oh, they didn't do it. The
I don't know
crowd
if
did.
I don't know if the van. I thought that was Suicidal Tendencies had their van on fire.
They lit their trailer or something on fire.
Yeah,
and the van was...
maybe Suicidal Tendencies had their van flipped over.
Okay, let's just for the sake of a good story.
I was at anyway. I wasn't at that one. I was at the Exploited show. It was insane.
Okay, well, thanks. I'm sorry to digress. That had nothing to do with anything else.
Well, yeah, Bobby, as you know, Proc's our local resident
Historian.
music
Music guy.
head.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a closeted promoter, right?
I would love to be, a perfect job would be to go on tour with a band and get their hotel rooms. And what would that job be? Make sure the merch is sold.
Like a tour manager.
I'd be tour manager. That's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. If there's any openings, let me know.
Well, you know what?
And I would've
I've been
been
in
like-
some popular bands, but you know, I've had tour managers. I'll take that
Okay.
back. I've actually had a tour.
And I would have been like, "Fuck Bobby, we're leaving. We're leaving Chicago."
So the tour
We're
manager's
driving
job,
without him.
as you can tell, the tour manager's job was like, "Where's Rob?"
Yeah.
You know, he took off last night. We don't know where he went.
Right.
And usually I'd be sleeping under the van, or I'd be like, "Oh, there he is on the ground."
Well, I have to assume that you have some connection with motorcycles, right? And we're going to hold on to that in just a second.
I do.
In just a second, because I want to go back to you. You grew up in New Jersey.
Yeah.
You said this.
I grew up on the Jersey Shore,
you
just
were-
south of Asbury Park.
We know that area.
Yep.
We were there for the show.
Seaside, yeah.
Cheap Thrills.
Yeah.
Oh, Cheap Thrills.
Mm.
Actually, I grew up. So the town I grew up in is Toms River. So if you were to get into Seaside Heights, you have to drive through Toms River.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
Cool.
Bitchin', that's a cool place.
That's pretty awesome.
yeah, I grew up in that town.
You
Yeah.
went to high
great.
school there.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, briefly.
Okay,
went to high
this is
school
a
there.
theme. This is a theme.
Let's just say I
I
was
was
on.
setting
Let's
you
just
up.
say I was on high school grounds sometimes. Yeah.
And well, you were a marginalized young youth, right?
Sure.
Yeah, and tell me a little bit more about your marginal youth. You know,
It's your typical.
again, it's not
suburban,
typical.
Broken family, abusive alcohol, like runaway,
Who you?
joined a band. Yeah.
Who was abusive? Your family.
Yeah. So, I grew up in a bad house, with alcoholic parents. And
So you were.
I wound up living in a 20-year-old's house. I just ran away from home.
At what
And,
age?
Around that 16 area.
Yeah.
I quit high school. My last year at high school was the 10th grade. Can't remember if I finished it or not, but briefly went into the Reagan's war on drugs juvenile thing for a year, and when I got out, I just kind of went on my own.
Wait, so you were you incarcerated to
You
some
had to
degree?
sit.
Yeah, I was incarcerated, yeah. But I wouldn't call it jail.
Was it you were under 18, so it's like
Yeah,
juvie,
it wasn't
some sort of-
juvenile hall either. It was like
A group.
it's hard to say. It's like a place you could go before you went there.
It's like Allendale.
Yeah, put it
in
that
like
way.
Villa.
It's like they're giving you a chance to get your shit together.
Yeah.
And you
But
did not get your shit
but
together.
it was all over the country. So the place was right outside of Altoona, Pennsylvania, and there's no walls. It's just in a valley, and just you could escape, but you're just gonna run into the woods, And those kids from my roomie was from Washington D.C. He was a really cool guy. Can't remember his name, but yeah,
You took to that, or you bucked that? You know what I mean? You righted the ship, so to speak, or you got out of there and just.
You're like, I got a year. I'm just gonna do my time and get out of here.
No, they just well, I didn't do a year there. I did 3 months there, and then I got out and I had to go to alternative school. And I don't know how long that was, like the rest of the year, and then I just disappeared. I just, the van would show up and I wouldn't be there for it.
Yeah.
There's names for all this stuff. I don't know what you would call it all, but it was all new. It was all Nancy Reagan's idea.
Sure.
And she rounded up all us degenerate kids and threw us in places and whatever. I got out and said, you know what? Well, fuck it.
And were you already playing music?
Yeah, I was.
So you're on the road then for years.
So then I got out of there and I joined my first band when I was 15. But the band was considerably older people, 20, 21, 22. And that was it.
What did you play?
Bass. Yeah, I played bass guitar. Only because the band I joined needed a bass player.
But that wasn't your instrument of choice?
No, I played guitar.
All right.
You still play guitar? You still?
I'm okay at it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to be good at it to be in a band. That doesn't assume you're
any
any good.
I can play the 3 chords, man. I can jam.
Right. Good enough for hardcore.
I'm known for being a bass player, though. I've been playing it so long.
Mm-hmm. And just real quick, the bands what was the first band? Social Decay.
Social Decay.
Okay.
Yeah.
DK or DECAY?
CAY.
Okay.
Right.
I'll look it up.
I think New Jersey Hardcore Hall of Famer.
Bold state.
Really? All right.
I didn't know I was in the presence of that.
think
What were the big
actually-
fanzines at the time out there? I remember there was one that covered it's Jersey Beat. Is that?
Yeah, there was Jersey Beat, Flipside.
Flipside is from there, yeah.
We used to, because I grew up right outside of New York City, I would be up there every weekend. We'd get all the zines, Bleecker Bob's, the Record Cantina. We'd get all the we'd see every show.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd have all the 7 inches, maybe have enough money to buy a shirt. I panhandled it with a guitar, with a hat for a while, So,
Nice.
yeah.
You're a big record head too, right?
Yeah, record collector, yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's pretty massive. Yeah.
The collection. You have to have the floors reinforced at your place.
No, I have like special shelving. So I had to
Spread it out.
Yeah, I had to get it up on the walls. So.
I thought you said a special shovel. Like you
Shelving,
have so many records.
shelving,
You have a shovel that doesn't scratch them as you're flicking them in the air. Well, so somewhere in that adolescence time, between 16 and there, you had a troubled time in bands. You got a dirty fingernail in there somewhere. Someone planted a seed to be mechanically inclined.
Yeah, so my first job at 15 as a homeless recluse, or whatever you want to call it, I went down to the local electrician's shop. It was like a 5-man shop out of his garage, and my job was to stock the vans.
But you went there on your own accord.
Yeah, I was like, I need a job. Yeah, I need a job.
You're like, I like this kid.
Yeah, and I shoveled the driveway, snow. I'd pack the vans. If they needed a hole dug, I'd go dig a hole. I made $5 an hour, and I learned.
Did you know them ahead of time, or you knew of the shop,
No.
or like you're just wandering by?
No, it might have been an ad in the local newspaper. Help wanted, and they were looking for an electrician. So I showed up like, hey, So I'd come in early, and the vans would be there, and they like, this truck needs all this. I just stock it all. They'd go out and like, all right, we need a hole from here to there. I'd start digging a hole, and that's it. That's how it started.
But you stuck with it.
Yeah, I'm still an electrician
Because
today.
it didn't
yeah.
scare you. I mean, that's hard work that would scare most 16,
Well, yeah,
15-year-olds.
I was estranged from my parents, and I had to eat.
Yeah.
It was like
you had no choice.
It wasn't like summer money,
Right.
But it's cool
to
that-
go down to the Gap.
Right.
But it's cool that you started out as an electrician. You still are. So you lucked into it.
Yeah, well,
You either lucked into it, or you're like, fuck it, I'll just do it.
the guys that I worked for were guys like me today. Like, just, they drank beer, they liked to go to the bar, they party. Like, at the time, it was just, so they would take me out in the van, and I'd learn, they'd show me stuff, whatever, and yeah, it was a great time.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's
just
cool.
learned it, and then I went to trade school a little bit, but me in school never,
Trade school because it was a union shop, like that.
It was a
kind of
non-union shop, but they offered like vocational classes.
Sure.
But I just got bored. I quit.
You're like, I know this
Yeah,
stuff.
not even. I just
Yeah.
like can't do this.
Do you
I'm gonna sit here after work and watch this guy tell me this is a wire cap. You know what I mean?
Do you feel like you're a master electrician right now?
Well, that's hard to say. So, I manage about $4 million a year.
What do you mean?
So
You
I'm a supervisor of in and around the BP oil refinery. So I do about 20 to 15 guys
Okay.
crew, and I manage 4 plants, and we do about 2.5 to 4 million a year. Just me. I manage that. So
Huh. Well, being a manager is a whole different skill set than being an electrician.
I know. Can you believe a guy like me would manage? Someone would let me manage something.
Skills, yeah. People skills.
I get. Yeah, you can say
You'd be
that.
good
yeah.
at that. You'd be good at that.
Yeah. So I'm not really an electrician anymore.
You're a manager.
Yeah.
And
So that my title is site superintendent,
sure.
but I have 5, 6.
But I'm sure you have to mentor young people and like, hey, listen,
Oh,
the
yeah,
red
of
don't
course.
touch the black, right? The red and white. Whatever
It's
it is.
pretty intense. It's pretty dangerous work. I mean,
Yeah.
it's from steel mills to the oil refinery.
Are you employed by BP or a
No,
subsidiary?
I'm a contractor.
Sure.
I'm an electrical contractor. Yeah.
All right. Well, this is interesting. We're in here, 20 minutes already, and we haven't even mentioned. There must have been somewhere you got connected or touched by a motorcycle or,
Yeah, sure,
or a
sure.
car. Tell us about that.
So right after Social Decay, I joined this band. I created this band with my best friend from Social Decay, Tommy Southern, and that band was really successful. Like Atlantic Records, Sabbath tours, like we did the whole tour
Can you
bus.
tell the band names?
Yeah, it's called Godspeed.
Oh, okay.
So in the '90s, we were on MTV, and all this shit, and I was like 22 years old. And when that broke up,
How long did it last?
so the band lasted from about 90 to 95,
Okay.
5 years.
What were those years like? That must have been some
Well, it's
fuck-
probably
some
I'm not gonna say it was the best time of my life, but it was a pretty awesome time. Fucking awesome time. Like
were there good times, if you know what I'm saying?
it was insane times. Like so they'll be like, hey, we need you in New York tomorrow. Like, okay, well, I'll get on the bus. Like, no, we're sending a car to your house. Atlantic Records have a car, and I'd pull up and be a car in front of my house. Like, all right, we'll go to New York.
Nice.
You
were living in New Jersey?
Yeah, we'd go to like Rockefeller Plaza, and I remember going up into the Atlantic Records suite, and Don Henley was in the elevator in a trench coat, and it was like May, and Don Henley's in there with a trench coat. So I'm going, it's fucking Don Henley.
He's got his check.
I
in
remember
his
he
hand,
turns
like,
around like, see you guys later. Like he gets off into like, the executor. And then they open up and it's like the small band section. But I remember we would go in there and the only thing I would do was like, where's the new music? Like, oh, there's a wall back there with all the new music. And we'd be like, oh, could we have it? And we would just be like, and they're like, what are you guys doing? Like, oh, I wanted that.
Just
oh, this
taking
looks good. And
CDs
we'd
and-
leave with like records and CDs, like, like trying to carry them out of Atlantic Records. Like, hey, we have a meeting. And so we were signed to Atlantic, and our first tour. My manager. This is a crazy story. So they were trying to find us a manager. So we went to Russell Simmons. He was up, so I went to see Russell Simmons, and then there was Doc McGee's brother, Scott McGee, the guy that does Kiss, and it was one of the McGees, and we settled with Geezer Butler's wife from Black Sabbath. Like, she was my manager.
Okay.
No way.
Yeah, and so she's like, oh, okay, sign with me, and we'll put you on tour at Black Sabbath in like a month. Like, yeah.
John.
Where do I sign? And so we signed a deal.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm on tour.
How was that?
So I put my music career like this. So I talked about Social Decay. So 5 years before I'm on tour at Black Sabbath, I was opening up for G.G. Allen. So I went from like G.G. Allen to Black Sabbath in 5 years.
I got to say, the opening for Black Sabbath has
Nice
got to be.
That's like my music career right there in a nutshell.
There's few bands that I think would be showered upon with heckling that would be openers. Like opening for Slayer is a hard row to hoe, and opening for Black Sabbath I think would be.
Yeah, well, there's a story about my current band opening up for Slayer in Chicago.
And
they're a Chicago band. I don't think it went very well.
Really?
That's the thing.
And that band is from the town. Yeah.
every time I've seen Slayer, the first band gets booed off the stage.
Well, I saw
shit.
Slayer and I saw him on Rain and Blood tour at the Ritz. I think Overkill might have opened, and it was just insane. Like I grew up at a time where like my favorite bands I saw in the Raw early.
Yeah.
You know.
Wait, Overkill got booed off stage?
No, I don't remember that, but I'm just saying like the show was insane.
Right. Yeah.
What does insane mean?
Like it was just you never seen anything like it. And it was nothing like Slayer. Like in I don't know, it had to have been like 85, 86.
Yeah.
It was just smoke and just this crowd and
Just a swirl.
yeah, it was
like
just you couldn't
insanity.
stand it. It's just like crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah, it
There was
gives you
that time-
goosebumps currently.
Yeah, there was nothing like it at the time, and I went to a lot of shows. Man, I went to a show every weekend.
So tell me about just a little bit about touring with Black Sabbath. I'm sure that we all are a little bit curious.
Well, it wasn't the Ozzy Osbourne Black Sabbath, but it was a good Black
Who
Sabbath.
was the singer at that time? I don't know.
His name was Tony Martin.
Was he
And
from
the
Deep
tour
Purple
was
or
cross
something?
purposes. And so Dio was on the Humanizer, and he had just left the band, and I went to Tony Martin. But we got off the Sabbath tour, and our next tour was with Dio
Okay.
right
Oh,
after
wow.
that. So
Oh,
we went
really?
from Sabbath to Dio.
And your manager must have liked you.
Yeah, when we were making money and doing stuff, yeah. she
Were you
liked us.
still? Was Bobby Goodtime still? I mean, pre Goodtime's name was.
I
Or
didn't
were
have
you
the name.
focused as fuck?
But you were a good time.
Okay, so I was not focused on anything.
So Good Times is like you just earned your nickname a little later.
Okay,
in life.
so I know we're supposed to get on motorcycles, but
Fuck
we
that.
got founded.
Motorcycles what?
So there's a
Motorcycles is
bar,
boring.
and rest in peace, the Brighton Bar. The Brighton Bar was a Jersey Shore, Long Branch, New Jersey.
I played there.
club.
I was in a band that played
okay,
there.
so
Really?
we were playing the Brighton Bar in Long Branch, where Monster Magnet was founded, and
Yeah,
we were
okay.
founded. And a lot of bands, Nude Swirl, like a lot of bands.
Monster Magnets from there?
Yeah.
Really?
Actually saw them there. Actually, I saw Monster Magnet at City Gardens, and they were called the Dog of Mystery. They weren't even Monster Magnet yet. And so
That makes sense.
there was a guy, we're drinking in our van. And so what happened was, since we were in a pretty popular hardcore band, the metal band we became, or the, I don't want to call it grunge, but like the helmet style,
Sure,
more
yeah.
Sabbathy band, became pretty popular because it crossed over into other things. And so if you ever been to the Brighton you couldn't move. So every time we played, like you got there or you weren't getting in. And so there
Yeah,
was
not for
people,
my
there was
show.
people there's people falling out the door.
Right.
And they turned out to be events. So we're playing there, and one of the A&R guys from Atlantic Records was on vacation on the shore, and he stumbled over to the show drunk. So he sees us in the parking lot. He's like, "Hey, what's up, guys? Like, what's going on here?" I had no idea. Like, "Oh, we're playing right here."
Door
Like,
of the van's open.
yeah, so like he's like, "Oh, can I hang out?" Like, yeah. So he's like, "Oh man, can I come to the show?" Like, "Yeah, we'll put you on the guest list." All this, and then he goes, "Oh, I work for a record label." And I was like, "Awesome, whatever." Yeah, cool. All right, just here's
You're already
yeah,
in, buddy.
Yeah, I got you on the list. So we play the show, and we're like, we're not gonna see this guy's tanked.
Yeah.
He comes back. Oh man, the shows were great. There's probably videos of it. You guys are fantastic, man. I'm signing you guys. I'm signing this band. Awesome, dude. Nice to meet you. See you around. So we wound up playing like once a month. A month later, we're playing. He shows up with Jason Flom, who is like the head A&R from Atlanta Records. He brings the guy.
No way.
Head A&R guy from Atlantic Records. He's like, "Hey, remember me?" Like, "Yeah." He's like, "I told you, man. That's just my boss." Well, like, put him on the guest list. You guys want a drink? We started getting him drink. Play. And the guy was like, "I'm signing this band."
That's a great story.
What? Like, what?
Wow.
Wild.
So
he
we
just
literally went from like a bar band to like on a playing Hammersmith Odeon, like literally in a month.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we were just
How
like,
cool.
what? Like I
Like, is
wasn't,
this
I wasn't
happening?
like, I wasn't a professional musician. I was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
professional idiot that played guitar. You know what I mean?
So how does that work? How does that transition work? Like
It
you get some
transitioned
money,
horribly, dude. Yeah, so we got money.
and then what do you do with
put
it?
our, you know, we didn't have jobs. We literally were paid to like demo and record. We made an album. Like they would give us a stipend. You know.
Are all the stereotypes true? Like A&R guys assholes and like pushing you directions.
No,
and,
they
like,
were great. They were completely hands off. We got to pick the engineer we wanted. We got to pick the studio. We actually recorded it in Jimi Hendrix's studio on 8th, Electric Lady.
No way.
Yeah.
In New York City.
Yeah. Yep. I spent a whole month there, 30 days.
No way.
Yep.
fuck.
That's killer.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Fantastic. And I'll give you a little side thing from that. So we were recording our album in Studio A. Weezer was recording their first album in Studio B. So ours was A, theirs was down the hall B, and Rick Ocasek from the Cars produced their album.
Wow.
So when we go down there to start recording, we see Rick Ocasek. Like, is that the guy from the fucking Cars? Like, yeah, he's producing a band called Weezer. So if anyone knows Rick Ocasek, the
Oh,
big
yeah.
tall guy with the glasses, he also produced the Bad Brains Rock for Light album.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So we're all like, hey, good job on that Bad Brains album, man, you know. Didn't mention the Cars or anything. So a little more story to that. I'm recording, and so we would do it. I would do my bass parts like at 2 a.m. He was down in Studio B mixing something, and I had my amp out in the hallway between the two. I don't know the sound. They wanted the big long sound or something in the hall. So he comes in the studio. I'm like got my headphones on. I'm like sitting in a chair. I'm like playing, and they're like, "Hey Rob, can you come in the sound booth?" I'm like, okay, I see people, and I walk in around the thing, and Rick Ocasek's in the room. And he goes, hey, man, I fucking love that bass sound of yours. Do you mind if I go, like, see what's going on with it and stuff? I go, hell yeah, come on. So he's like, oh, Rivera and all these cabs and my Big Muff and all this. He's like, oh, man, do you mind if can I steal this sound? I was like, I don't care.
No way.
Yeah. So
Really?
he started making notes and whatever. Like, thanks, dude. So the thing is like the Weezer album bass sound is mine. But
Okay.
I can't confirm that really, but
Well, you have
that's like the running
That's cool.
joke.
That's cool.
Yeah.
it's like you have kids out there that you don't know about.
But that was I could spend a whole podcast on Electric Lady Studio.
Well, let's do it.
Let's talk about it.
Most amazing place.
Really?
So you know the guy from not Cannonball Run, Smokey and the Bandit. You know they got the short guy and the tall guy.
The cops.
No, like the father and son. Like
Yeah,
Danny,
the cops. Was
yeah,
it
Paul
the Cops?
Williams. No, not
Oh,
Jackie
yeah,
Gleason.
yeah,
but
Paul Williams.
Paul Williams was
Okay.
an actor, but he's a short guy with the mustache
Yeah.
and long blonde hair. He did the artwork inside the bathrooms of Electric Lady Studio, and it was just naked women. Like, pictures of naked women.
No
And it
way.
was like curated by Paul Williams, like a plaque.
Like magazine
Yeah.
pictures.
No, I think it was like his photos. I was
Oh,
like,
no way.
I mean, it was built in the 60s.
How
Yeah, it's
awesome.
wild shit.
Fuck yeah. That's awesome.
So I'm more curious about. You said you played these at Hammersmith and these giant. You played with Sabbath in England.
Yeah, and Iron Maiden and Girl School were in the audience.
Wait. Iron Maiden and Girl School were what?
In the audience, they were there at the show. I met them backstage. Yeah, pretty cool.
And you're on a bus at this time.
It was a tour bus. Yeah, I destroyed it.
What's the? Give us the best tour bus story.
So it was our singer's birthday, and we were coming out of Milan, Italy, and so anyone knows so to get to we were going from Milan to Florence, so the bus driver wanted to get on the road. So by the time it was just the sun was up, so we were like, oh, let's get our singer a bottle of wine for his birthday, and we got the refrigerator was like this cooler. Right, but we got a bottle of wine. It was like the long thing, and it had the big like bottom, you know, like a genie.
I have like
And we're like, shit. Like we meant to put it in there and drink it later, but it was like 6 in the morning. Like, so I don't know what happened, but we went through this long tunnel through a mountain. It was pitch black, and everyone started punching each other in the face. So
Mid bottle of wine or after bottle of wine?
It was wine, beer. It was like everyone was all fucked up. So what happened was, then the light would come on, like you'd come out of the tunnel, everyone would be like this. So no one knew who was punching each other, but everyone would have like black eye. So my singer got so mad at me. So if you ever go into a European tour bus, you walk in and there's a lounge with a table, and the post is in the floor, but it's like this far off the ground. So I picked them up, and as the bus was fucking going like 70 miles an hour, I picked them up and slammed them into the table, and it broke through the bottom of the bus. And the post is like banging off the ground. Dude,
No, wait, like off the road?
So what happened was the bus, all you see is sparks flying out the fucking bus on the Italian freeway. So the bus driver pulls over. We ran upstairs.
What do you mean upstairs?
So he's upstairs and the lounge is downstairs. So the bus is like a double decker.
Holy shit.
So what the post went through because it was like this high off the ground.
So it just punched through the
It
floor.
punched through the floor
It's grinding right along the
on
road.
the street. He comes running down. Like, he's from Britain. His name was Chip. You fucking cunts. Fucking hate you fucking guys. Fucking hated us. Yeah.
So what
And
happens?
Nothing.
He was your driver for the rest of the
They
tour?
took the table and put it away, and they put a board over the hole. With a singer, but the fucked upest injury was someone scratched his face from like here down. He had like the whole tour. He had like lines.
No way.
You thought it was you.
Nobody knows.
No one knew. No one knew anything. Hey, that's one of 100 stories, dude.
That's great.
That's awesome.
I could
That's
go on
so
and on
great.
about the music because you're living my ultimate fantasy, by the way, of that industry.
So anyway, no, it was not a professional sit.
In conclusion, he says, it was not a professional. Okay, the band comes to an end. Because the original question.
Yeah, we got dropped in San Francisco, and they said, just rent a car and go home. We had enough of you guys.
Oh,
Was it
really?
the same
So
dude?
between then and San Francisco, I can tell you a lifetime of shit.
The
Oh,
same
really?
dude was like, hey, I got to let you know.
No, our manager called and said, Gloria, Geezer Butler's wife's like, pack it up.
Like we're done.
Yep, we had like six shows left, and it was in San Francisco at the Mirage Hotel, like that famous one, Rockstar. Like, oh, we made it to the Mirage. Oh shit, go home. Like the phone's ringing, like go home. We played that night and rented a car and drove home.
Just like,
Yeah, but now what?
what did you talk about on the way home?
Nothing. Everyone got into a fight. People were going, so we had to rent 2 cars, so people were going from car to car. Someone hit a deer in one of the cars. One guy was so drunk he wound up in Detroit instead of going straight on 95. He went up 75 to fucking Detroit. We woke up in Detroit like, what the total shit show. Total shit show.
Well, my original question was, how did you get a dirty fingernail? How did you get...
So what happened? Oh, so how to become mechanically inclined?
Yes, and you
Yeah,
went on
get
this
into
tangent
bikes.
of the
So
Where'd the-
people fucking are more. So I'm sitting so briefly after that, my buddy was having a backyard barbecue, and I'm just like sitting in a chair drinking, like, fuck, man, my band just got we just got dropped. Like, what am I gonna do? And a dude, one of my good friends from school, but we didn't go to school together, but from that time, pulls up in an old BSA Gold, Lightning or Gold Star, one of the two. And I was thinking to myself, like, damn, like, that's what I'm missing. Like, I'm sitting here feeling sorry for myself. I should start doing something like that. So we started talking, and I bought a Triumph. Not too.
Yeah, you were, when I
Oh,
first
wow.
met you, I think you were big.
I was
You were
all
a big fan.
Triumphs, yeah. Yeah.
This is 96, 95, 96?
Yeah, I think I bought I wasn't into like street bikes or even like those mod, I guess rocker type bikes. I was always into the old rigid chopper thing. I don't know, my head, as much as I knew from the old movies and whatever. So I bought a rigid Triumph, but a factory rigid Triumph, like a 500 TRW.
Pre-unit?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
pre-unit.
Wow.
And I saw it, and I was like, I'll buy it. It was $1,500, and it ran. It looked cool as shit. It was way too small for me, but
Who told you how to work on it?
I still don't know how to work on it. No one. I mean, no. So, you know, so then I had that friend, and he didn't know what the fuck he was doing. I didn't know what we were doing. We both didn't know what we were doing together.
Best way to learn, man. Fuck it up.
Magazines. There was no internet. There was a local guy, British Cycle Supply. That was
Oh, this is
extremely-
around. I used to buy
still around.
my first real build was a Triumph, and I was buying all kinds of stuff from
Oh,
those
yeah,
guys.
fantastic. So he's out of Hoboken, New Jersey, in Canada, and he was very. I mean, you could get on the phone, and that's when that's when I probably ran into Truth, Big Truth, and Chopperhead, and those guys, and they had a forum. They had a British forum.
Sure.
Back in the early days.
Yeah,
of the
and
internet.
so but
Do you think
know,
you think you were influenced by those guys before you picked Triumph, or you didn't know anything
I
about
only
them
picked
guys?
Triumph
You
because
picked
it was rigid and it was cheap.
because of the movies,
Yeah.
fucking ape hangers.
Yeah, I
you know,
had like Z bars, and
Yeah.
it was like a chopper, and it was rigid.
Wassel fender, Wassel tank.
Yeah, I still own the bike.
Really?
Actually, it's hanging up at Bravetown.
No way.
So if you go into the Bravetown, you go up to the bar. There's an old Triumph, rigid Triumph on the thing, and it's still there. It wasn't meant to be up there. I came in one day, and everyone got so drunk, and they just picked it up and put it up there. So now it's just stuck up there.
Well, you have
It's a
a
running bike. It's
Nice.
up there, yeah.
you have a strong sense of style
Oh,
too,
thanks.
right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think things like that, but sure.
You're a pretty humble dude. Like, I mean, I've known you for years, and like all this stuff coming out, like I didn't realize half the shit, right? Like, we've talked a lot, but pretty fucking humble. So I think you could probably let it go a little bit.
Okay, yeah, sure. I got great
Yeah.
style. I got style.
Attaboy. Attaboy.
You know, if you were to pick up like a '60s biker movie,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
would be my style.
Well, so that
but
tells
that
me
was my style through hardcore. It was my style through metal, all the era. Like,
Well, hang
so
on.
if I was to show you a picture of me in 1989, it would be this, but black. Like,
right. No gray.
Like I
hair.
haven't changed a thing in like
Yeah.
35 years.
So somewhere along the way, you saw these chopper movies, and they inspired.
Oh yeah,
the
and I had a
look?
cousin that was kind of like, you know, a Zeppelin Sabbathy chopper guy, and you know, it was one of those, you know, you're like, oh, look at that, and you know, the bikers go down the street like, fuck, you know.
So you were attracted to the style.
Oh yeah,
before
and
you
I
even knew it.
remember, so when I got that bike, all right, here's my style, Walnix. Like in Jersey, you could get a Walnix,
Yeah.
and you know, you thumb through it, and it was just
Oh man.
vintage chop,
Yeah.
vintage
Yeah.
motorcycle.
Good shit.
But
Yeah.
British, metric, American, and I was like, oh my, oh dude.
But
So
my
much
point is,
It's
bullshit.
like porn.
So much,
Yeah.
it was, right?
Yeah, it
and
was.
so,
your look was inspired by that before you even knew it. When you were 15, you didn't set out to look like that. You looked like that
yeah, you know,
subconsciously.
I wasn't, so, excuse me, the bike I bought, when I saw it, I was like, that's it. Like, I didn't have to be like, I'm going to buy that and this is what I'm going to do to it.
Right.
It was like the perfect looking,
It was already everything that you
vintage
wanted. Yeah.
motorcycle, 57 pre-unit Triumph rigid, factory.
Yeah,
rigid,
pretty epic
casting,
motorcycle just
yeah.
to get out of the gate.
And I was like, yeah, that's it. And then, you know, it didn't, I was trying to chase panheads and shovel heads, and I was like, you know, struggling down the Pine Barrens, like, you know. And I was like, you know, then I needed a bigger bike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I got a Sportster, 1980, 80 Sportster, 81, 82, you know, that weird year Sportster, stock, bone stock. And I got a panhead after that. I was hooked, yeah.
And that's where you've honed in.
That's the blowdozer.
No, I had an SNS pan before.
Gotcha.
Bulldozer was the first bike I bought here in Chicago.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I brought a panhead with me from Jersey. And that Triumph.
We still have the pan?
And I
SNS
sold
pan?
it to, remember Ross the Boss, the welder guy, my buddy?
Maybe.
Milwaukee Mike's buddy,
Yeah.
Ross. Yeah. Ross Spears. I sold it to him.
Oh, yeah, you had it for a while though. Wait, no, Ross, that was a long time ago.
It was a very long time
He
ago. It
lives
was
in
like,
Scotland now.
yeah. I sold it to him.
Oh, really? No way.
Yep.
For those that don't know, can you tell us what is Bravetown?
It's a collective of dudes, like-minded guys.
Like socialists?
Yes, like it's the Communist Party. Of so, when I first moved to Chicago, the only person I knew in the Midwest was Milwaukee Mike Johnson, and I only knew him from the horse smokeouts in Salisbury. So he was like, I know you just moved here, you probably need a space, come up here, and I got a space for you at the shed. So the old shed in Bayview, right?
Oh, wow, yeah.
So I had a space there.
No
and-
way.
Right in the shadows of the leather factory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the old one. So I had a space there. It was just my triumph in the toolbox. And, they had a party, and I met everyone in Bravetown at that party.
No way.
Yeah.
Was that the one we were doing wheelies on the parking lot?
Yeah, Brian Harlow was there, Will Thomas was there, Slippery Pete was there, and they're like, hey, I heard you live in Chicago. I was like, yeah. He goes, what are you doing here? I was like, well, I don't know anyone in Chicago. Like, we all live in Chicago. Well, we should get a space like this. Like, sure. So the first space was called the post office. So Brian Harlow lived in a building, and right across the street was an old abandoned post office. So
The
we
Dreamer, Mr. Harlow. We should put.
the Dreamer.
We
The
should
kid,
see what life
Freedom.
choices he's making currently.
the kid is creepy. It's Freedom. Yeah, Brian Freedom
That's
Harlow.
right. That's right.
So what happened was, I don't know if I should let out how we got the Bravetown name. I'll keep that a secret. But
Sure.
we went into, because it would be insulting to some people, but we went into a space with another group of people, and it just didn't work out. So right behind that space was a space for rent. So the 5 or 6 people that were like, F those dudes, went into the thing. And the name Bravetown came from an offshoot of the name of those other group of people.
Sure,
but I'm
sure.
not going to get into all that live. But
Harlow lived like right around the corner in Humboldt Park, right? And I mean, Humboldt Park is not what it used to be. It's still not like
no, it was shady back then.
super shady. That place, and that's where I kind of cut my teeth too. Like that was the first group leaving out of Milwaukee, or like myself leaving out of Milwaukee, going and like meeting people outside of my area to do motorcycle
Yeah,
shit.
I met you around this time too.
Right? Country Mile,
yeah,
post
Country
office.
Mile, yep, post office.
That's
Actually,
a big
we
time.
pulled out of the post office on the first Country Mile.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Yep.
Yep. That was when.
Those were good times, man.
Is that the one where Dan Bacon car put a hole in?
Yeah.
Wait, which Dan put a hole in
That was
Dan's?
Bacon.
Bacon got the hole
Bacon
in his
drove.
calf.
He popped his clutch and rode his bike into, I think, Sean's foot bag
That's right.
and
fucking-
wedged himself in there. He put a hole, and then we were trying to butterfly stitch it in a campground. True story.
There's a movie about that somewhere.
Yeah, I think. Oh, Richie Phillips.
Yeah,
was on
Rich
that.
did that. That what a fucking
You know, I
what a
just
fuck
reconnected
story
with
that
him
was.
Not too long ago.
It was
Texas,
great content for a movie.
Yeah, he made a movie about it. He was in a van with a camera, and I think Blake Mason rode his bike. Richie Phillips.
Yeah, I
bike.
think so.
Yeah.
I want to highlight the idea of this commune experience and how maybe it was related to being in a band, right? When you're in a commune of chopper builders, motorcycle
Yeah,
builders.
the difference between being in a band is like when you're in a band, like I didn't have to listen to any of these 5 guys in the space. I could build what I wanted to build. We were all friends. Like in a band, it's like a marriage.
Sure, but you're also feeding and communicating with each other with art. Is that fair to say?
That's fair.
Someone's building a bike, and you're like, oh, I like the way you.
Yeah, like
I
so.
like the trajectory of this, and
At that time, from Thursday to Sunday night, everyone was at the space every week.
yeah, and you're creating an energy.
So, no one was doing anything without someone else there. Everyone's seeing it. It was like, oh, you push it out and you see, like, oh, look at that. Or like it'd be like 3 a.m. and you'd start, oh, I'm gonna fire it right now.
Yeah,
That's how it was.
yeah.
There was a time we would say, I bet you there's not many people doing what we're doing right now in the country that, we thought it was pretty special.
Sure.
Yeah.
It is special and continues to be special.
But my point is that we stole it, the idea.
You stole the idea of the commune from Milwaukee.
Yeah, from Milwaukee.
Okay, bold statement.
Like we actually said we should have a space like the Shed in Chicago.
Yeah.
Like that was what we said. So, we can't take credit for, but.
Well, you said it was rare, but I think as Scott and Warren are finding that there are many of these underground communes around the country. Is that in the
Yeah, I mean, it was super prevalent in the Midwest, really. I mean, it was a thing, right?
It was a thing.
Which was spurred probably from the Shed and from Bravetown, and the kids at the Valley were obviously inspired by that, and then all over the country, which it's like little sleeper cells. You wouldn't have to know anybody. You can go drop in, and
you
surely
could drop
figure
in.
somebody.
People would knew it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can go pop in if you're in anywhere in the country, connect the dots, and have a little family for the weekend, or fucking stay like all the kids in Alabama, right? Like,
yeah. Oh, totally. What the cool thing about it was like we had tried to be in spaces with other groups of motorcycle people and we wound up always being like they're not like us. So we were kind of exclusive, but the exclusive bunch of idiots. You know what I mean? It wasn't like we're an exclusive club, but we came to realize like everyone's not like mine.
Well, you get along. You get along with who you get along with,
Yeah.
and if you're smart enough, brave enough, confident enough to make those decisions for yourself, you just stick together.
We just stuck together. Yeah, like everyone was in agreement.
Still together,
one,
right?
No one had a beef. And I'll give you an example. Like, so there's a Bravetown guy in Mama Tried this year, Gene. Can I say that?
Yeah,
Gene?
of course.
And he's one of he came in as like an 18-year-old kid.
Knowing nothing, not a fucking clue.
With a little Japanese bike, now he's got a bike in the show, and it's just like,
So Bravetown is still an active commune?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, it's,
It goes through
It's
it's
more-
ebbs and flows, right?
yeah, it's more.
Yeah.
Is there a Bravetown tattoo?
Oh, good question.
About the-
oh, yeah,
about
I
the
do.
Eagles.
I do. I got the address tattooed. on mine.
Really?
Yeah, both addresses. 1526 Throop and then 2621 Grand Avenue.
That's bold
Those are the two addresses. Well, Bravetown was a special place.
I agree.
Yeah.
What do you? I don't know. I'm asking because I don't know, and I don't know if all of our listeners would know. But what are you doing now in relation to motorcycles? You
Actually,
have a
it's,
shop of your own?
Yeah, well, so Bravetown's my shop still.
Your
And
office.
It's my office, my shop, and I did live there for a point of time.
I feel like in Bravetown you're like the old wise one. You're the one
Yeah, I've
that is kind
become
of
that.
grounded.
Yeah,
and like,
so actually tomorrow night, me, Brian, Sean, and Jay are going out. And it's an elders, the elders dinner. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm the elders.
that's okay though,
We
right?
have a group
That's
of
nice.
new kids, and they're fantastic. There's been times where we were really hurting to keep it going, but we always maintained we're just not going to rent space to anyone. Like you had to come, not prospect, but you had to kind of
Hang out.
yeah, you had to hang around. You had to be like-minded and whatever. And the new group of kids are just fantastic. I love these guys. And so we're having elders dinner tomorrow, and we'll talk about elderly shit. Who knows? We'll talk about the same shit we talked about 12 years ago, but just older looking.
Yeah.
So
Sure. So this is still a commune. It's still for the love of making the
yeah,
art.
but for me now, it's been less of a culture center and more of I'm not even gonna say business. It's become my life. Basically, I spend all my time there. Not just hanging around, drinking, talking. I mean, I'm doing work.
You're on the
working,
wagon, right?
Yeah, I'm on the
Right.
wagon.
Bobby Good Times is Bobby GT now.
Bobby GT. Yeah.
Okay. So Good Times is still available as a nickname. If I can just put
Well,
that
no.
out
So
there.
it's also I started my handlebar business, whatever, small parts business, and not because I needed the money, whatever, just because I didn't want to keep making whole motorcycles.
Uh-huh.
It just became. I didn't. It just So I made small parts just to kind of stay fresh, stay in the game, kind of go to shows. I can go
Have
to
a
Mount
little
Tribe.
connection
Yeah,
still,
yeah,
right?
I can stay in it, and it's called BGT. So. I
You
kept
do
it.
that there?
And so it's become the epicenter of just about So if I'm not at work, so I rent an apartment.
It's funny, you know what's cool about it is like you're an electrician, and it's fitting that you would move into bar bending,
Yeah.
right? Because that's your thing.
Because so for some reason everyone kept asking me like, "Hey, can you bend me a set of bars?" I was like, "Not with my work bender," because the radius is like 5 inches. It's 5 inches long. Like, what do you mean? And I was like, "Okay." So I remember bars wasn't even in my radar. I would go to Bobby Middleton's to bend the bars because he had that Trick Tools bender. And I remember someone texted me like, "Hey, Grimy Rod from Strip Down Cyclists, he's down there near St. Louis. He's selling a bender." I was like, "Yeah, all right. If the shop will pay for it, I'll go pick it up." So I went down there and I got to hang with Rod for the day, which is an old friend. Actually, he might have been on that Country Mile with us.
He could have been.
He was, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway,
great
fantastic motorcycle
he was
guy.
Great dude.
Fantastic
awesome,
guy. And so he's selling it. I'm down there all day. I come back and I take it into my room and I bolt it to my floor, so no one else could claim it. I remember I just took a piece of pipe and I started doing some bends and I put one on the internet. They're like, "Oh, hey, can I get that?" I was like, "All right, well, there you go."
So it's a business, meaning it pays for itself.
So it's a business, but I only open the books when I want to. It's not open all the time. Like right now, I'm not really taking orders because I'm so busy and other things. And I don't want to be that guy where you pay for something and it takes a month to get.
Right.
So I'm like, hey, there's so many fantastic handlebar guys. I just like, hey, try REB or try those Silverback guys or whatever.
Sure.
I'm just too busy right now. But I think it's flattering that people want to build a bike and have my bars on them. I think that's. If you would have said that to me 10 years, it's pretty awesome because I get a kick out of it when these kids come back with their pictures with their shit on their bike and they're just like,
"You're proud."
I'm like, "Damn, those look damn good."
Yeah.
So I get excited for that.
Yeah, they're good looking.
And I'm glad for that because it's more than just, I make modest margins on the bars, but I sell T-shirts. I'm a T-shirts.
That's what the money is.
Yeah. I've been handlebars to sell T-shirts.
It's a simple world.
Modern world, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about yourself, because let me pause for a second. How are we doing on time?
Way over. That's all right.
Sorry.
It's the stories. I told you, I got
Oh,
stories.
you got good stories. You have a good contagious laugh.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your family currently. What are you doing? You got kids?
My kid's 31. He's a special needs school teacher in Sayreville, New Jersey.
Oh, so am I.
So I'm very proud of him.
Yeah.
And he just bought a house with his girlfriend, and I cannot be happier for him.
Is he have a dirty thumb? Dirty fingers?
No.
No?
No. And good. He did not follow my path. I'm totally fine with that. He's just, man, so I've never got called to school for him. I've never had to pick him up from jail.
Was he around the shop? Was he around Bravetown?
He lives in New Jersey, Sayreville, New Jersey.
But he never saw your shop?
He's been there before, but he doesn't hang around there. I'm going to see him tomorrow. So
this wasn't the woman.
All he knows about this is he's going to get, when I pass away, he's going to get unless something drastic happens, he's going to get a bitching collection of motorcycles.
That he knows nothing about. He doesn't even appreciate.
And I had my 47
number.
knuckle so I went to the Night of the Troglodytes show in Jersey, and I had my knucklehead in the back of my truck. So before I came home, I drove up to Sayreville to see him. And he's like, "Oh, man, is that mine?" I was like, "Yeah, it's yours." And the neighbor was like, "Man, what a lucky guy." So that's the only thing he cares about with motorcycles. He's going to have a whole bunch of them.
That's cool. Maybe he'll keep it in his living room.
Yeah.
So this wasn't the woman that you met in Jersey. You know what I mean? I thought that, or met in Chicago.
Is that his mom?
It wasn't his mom. Got it.
No. I had my son when I was 18.
Got it. All right.
Well, not unplanned, by the way, not planned.
Who the fuck plans a kid at 18?
That's what I'm saying. I was in between jail and, so.
Yeah, might as well really fuck it up. Throw a kid in the mix. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So anyway, she was much older than me too, so.
Rad.
Yeah, it wasn't your fault.
Oh, sweet. MILF was alive and well.
Well, I mean, when I was 16, 17, all my friends were in their 20s.
Yeah.
Like, I was the guy in the band where, I'd have to go to the bar and hide. I had a tattoo and a mustache just to kind of get by.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, play on a Wednesday night, and then, 4 in the morning, I'd be like, well, who's taking me to school? And they'd be like, what? Like, well, I got to go to fucking school today. They're like, oh, and I remember one time, like, the whole band in a Dodge Dart drove me to school. And it was like one of these Cheech and Chong movies where the car pulled up, the doors open, smoke billowed out, beer cans. And I kind of climbed over 3 people, and I was in the same clothes I was in the day before.
Yeah.
And then I remember the
You're going to
principal,
your
like,
English class.
just the guy was this, whatever, the superintendent was, like, on the
Principal,
street, like,
Bobby. It's a principal.
Like,
principal,
dude.
whoever, like, just get the fuck out of my school. And I'm like running down the street chasing the Dodge Dart, like, dude,
Hey, they told me to, don't have to.
true story.
Wild. That's good shit.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome.
great. That's great. Well, and thanks for sharing all that. I think it's great when you say that you're on the wagon, and then you can also go back and embrace the
6 years.
the good times that you've
Yeah, it's
had.
been 6 years.
The good, I mean, the good times. You know what I mean. That you're not embarrassed, and you've let that be part of your legacy.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's when I first got on the wagon, I was like, shit, man, I'm just gonna watch tomatoes grow in a garden. Like, I didn't think, like, I thought, you know,
Had
all
something
this was
happened?
gonna end. All this was gonna be over. And to be honest with you, man, my fucking life has been fantastic. Bigger than ever, better than
Since
ever.
you've been sober.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had something happen? Was there a hallmark moment where you're like, I need to sober? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But the funny part is, that's not what got me there. But what got me on that ball rolling was I paid a guy named Bob Dylan to take a drug test for me, and Bob Dylan failed my fucking drug test for me.
Really?
Yeah, I paid a guy $500 to take a piss test for me, and he failed it. You
And
fucking
so you
believe
ended up losing a job or something, or
it? I lost a lot. Yeah.
fucking Bob.
The big old slap in the face.
Keynote, never ask a guy named, and don't ask a Jim Morrison, a Bob Dylan, a Keith Richards
But
to take a drug test for you.
like as a tone to your personality and the way that you treat yourself, that shit came full circle, right? It was just like it was a immediate like, hey, dickhead, wake up. But then
Yeah.
everything just kind of fell back into place, and
It did
Right?
very nicely, and it was. I still get awkward. It's hard to be around sometimes, only because I'm generally a nervous guy. Like in general, I mean, you know me. I'm pretty quiet.
Yeah,
Like I don't
super
really
quiet.
talk much. And when I was Bobby Goodtimes, man, I was like, you know, everyone was huddled around me. You know, it was a different thing, and I had to I had to get over the fact that if I wasn't somewhere, I wasn't missing anything, because you get this thing where like, oh, I need to be here, I need to be there. What am I missing? That took a while, and also just to be able to communicate with people was kind of hard to learn. And to be honest with you, I didn't touch a motorcycle for almost a whole year. It took me about a year.
You
to
mean
get
when you went sober?
because it reminded you of
Yeah, so I didn't go back to my garage space because when I got sober, I was living in it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Well, it's great. I want to highlight this in a different way, that you've maintained this name, but people were around you not because of the drugs. They were around you because of who you are, right? You're clearly,
I would
when
say
you
I
clear
would
the
say
drugs,
50-50. You should see some of the people I was hanging out with.
most of those folks aren't where the shit.
Listen, the guys in my band couldn't have been fucking more happy. The guys in the garage, ecstatic. I mean, they saw me, you know, literally, I think it was at a Mama Tried after party, and someone was just like, dude, are you dying? You look like you're fucking dying. And it was February, and I was in a t-shirt, sweating outside a bar.
Yeah.
Like, are you okay? Like, I think I'm okay. I don't fucking, do I look like, you know? I was like a walking corpse.
well, we have this phrase, you know, who likes to party, right? With our Mama Tried Flat Out Fridays stuff, and I don't think it means go deep in the paint with drugs and alcohol.
Every night.
Every night. It means to just, you know, be responsible. But my point is, the name Bobby Goodtimes, it hasn't taken away, whether you're sober or not. I still want to party with you. You know, I still want to be with you and share some
Well,
time.
be prepared to be in bed by 8:30.
Okay, well, who likes that party?
We'll watch TV. Yeah,
All right. Well,
there ain't nothing much happening past 8 o'clock. If you
Yeah.
want to party with me,
Yeah.
Sure, but
That's
I'm
all
up
right.
at 6 and we're doing great shit.
I'm up at 4 a.m. Yep.
and we're doing some
And I,
inspiring
you know,
shit.
I just thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I feel like that. I mean, I feel like I have no regrets, man. I have a fucking awesome life, partying or not partying. It's just right now, it's just better than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, like I'll party with you, man. We'll fucking get a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll work on motorcycles, man. I'm doing more shit now than ever, man. Ever. I love it. Yeah.
What are you loving right now?
Man, just working in the garage. I'm building a knucklehead, man.
About that-
I'm buying knuckleheads.
How about
I'm
that
building
nice?
knuckleheads.
How about that nice new 45 you guys sitting
I
there?
know, and that's another thing too. Like, I mean, I always had a great job, and my priorities were always fucked up. But financial security, I mean, I can go down a list of shit, man. I'm living the way I wish. I'm living the life I always wanted to, without having to be,
Fucked up.
tweaked out freak.
Right.
Sure.
Right on.
You're a
heavy.
success
Yeah.
story.
Thank you. I
All right.
paid more than you bargained for.
That was great.
Should we wrap up? No. How are we feeling here?
Yeah.
I think we should.
Yeah.
I think we need to pause. I think we have to do a Bobby
Two.
two.
Yeah.
A Bobby 2.
I love that. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we haven't really.
Because
So
we
my
didn't
band,
scratch the
so I'll give you
surface.
real quick. So my band's manager, right? So I'm in a band called Trouble now. So we actually played Mama Tried years
Yep.
ago, and Harley Davidson. That's another thing too. Weird, man. I get the weird shit. Like Harley Davidson, like asked my band to play Mama Tried Party, paid us like a shit ton of money. But so the band, since I'm not a hired guy, I'm in the band, but I'm like a newest member. I don't get to do many of these things for the band. But no one wanted to do one once, so they're like, send Rob in to do it. So no one listened but her.
Mm-hmm.
Her name's Kat, and she listened. And she comes back. She's like, "That was the fucking greatest interview I've ever heard." So now I have to do that for the. They're like, "Oh, but
Have Rob do it.
Send Rob.
Yeah.
So she's like, I told I'm like, hey, I'm going to go to this podcast. She's like, oh my god, it's going to be fucking great. So the band's Trouble out of Chicago. I'm sure you heard of it.
You're looking for a gig. You guys play? You tour?
We tour. We play. The band's been. It's one of these metal legend bands. I had to audition for, and I got it. And it's called Trouble from Chicago. If you know the beginnings of doom metal, stoner metal, they've been a band since 1979, and their first album came out in 1984.
Wow.
So I
So
saw
it's an
them at
honor.
City Gardens with Sabotage in 1987.
Wow.
So
So
again,
now-
you're living your
Yeah, I'm
fucking
living a
best
dream.
life.
Yeah, so and we're recording our record right now. So
Cool.
And you get a text or like, hey, we need you in Santa Fe on Wednesday. I mean, is it still that high level?
oh no, it's not how we book our tours way in advance.
Sure.
Yeah, so-
Europe? You tour Europe?
Yep.
They good to you over there?
Yeah, they love it. They love the metal over there. Yeah, and so we play. I mean, the band's not as active as it used to, and COVID makes it way harder. And the guys are older than me, so gotta be careful. But but it's still an active band. We'll probably be super active next year once the album drops.
Dope.
Sure.
Yeah.
And playing festivals, I'd imagine.
Yeah, so we play the big ones and we play the main stages. Yeah,
That's
That's
awesome.
great. That's great.
That's killer.
yeah. So we just played in front of, I don't know, every show is usually sold out. I played in front of 115 people, and then I played in front of 115,000 people.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
What's
Yeah,
that?
it's been-
Fuck, that's got.
you know what? It's crazy. I approach it the same way, and I never get too nervous.
You're a nervous.
I
guy.
never
How
get
the
too
fuck you get
nervous.
over that?
I don't know, but I'll tell you what, the only time I was ever nervous playing my guitar was auditioning for this band.
Mm.
Oh,
I was actually
you could've been
stone
really-
nervous.
You could have been
stone
that
nervous.
nervous if you got
If
it.
you nailed it.
Yeah, but I was
Were you
nervous. I don't
sober
know.
when you got this job?
No.
So playing.
So if I told you the story of the Mama Tried show night here in Milwaukee, oh Lord, because I had a show. I don't know why. Like my band can't just book one night. So we played Mama Tried Friday night, wherever the party was, and we had a show Saturday night in Chicago. But me being Bobby Goodtimes, I couldn't let a good night in Milwaukee go to waste. I remember I had to. I don't even know how I got back to Chicago.
Did the band leave you again?
Well, we're so close. I think we all got around. We weren't in a tour bus or anything. let's just say the next night. Oh boy. Yeah.
You stayed in Milwaukee that night.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Mama tried. Hell yeah. Party of the year.
Yeah, we appreciate all the
That was a
support
good-
out of Chicago for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, for sure.
Well,
sure.
I was
Yep.
at Mama. I was at and in Mama Tried #1.
All right. Yeah.
Someone had a pop up tent. And, yep, I remember that.
Yep.
Had a lot of fun in that tent.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That was one of them. What was that?
That was
Can I
one
say
of those
that on the
able.
thing?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
one of the
absolutely.
Abel Brown tents. It was
Yeah.
like laying
It was
next to
set up in
somebody's
the-
bike.
in the
Yeah.
Haynes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we would call in there, dude. Oh,
So it's set up inside.
yeah.
Inside the show. Yeah.
Yeah, remember who were we talking to that?
There's always
Carlos.
like
Carlos
boots
did.
sticking out the side of it. You know, but people weren't sure if it was like a mannequin or regular boots. I remember someone saying to me like, "It's cool that there's like you guys have like the mannequin, like the boots sticking out the
Take
side."
it
I was
home.
like,
It's not a boot, bro.
"Yeah,
Well, this
we
tent,
thought of
seems,
everything."
Not a mannequin.
Yeah,
this tent seems like a safe space for people to take a time out in.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think I'd like to see this
That's
at
exactly
the next
what it
show.
was.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, yeah.
All right.
Let's wrap it up. If
Thanks,
you got any
Bob.
comments for Bobby
Okay.
Good Times, please don't be afraid to post your question, comment, not only on the YouTube channel but on all the social mediums.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a second episode just with viewer and listeners' questions.
Sure. Apparently, I was told I'm pretty good at this stuff.
Good shit. Bobby.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks for having me,
All right,
guys.
thank
And
you.
and I love the show. I love you guys, man. And man, fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks, bud.
I appreciate it.
All right.
You usually clap.
Okay.
All right.